questions that we are going to tackle here are going to help everybody else.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah, so feel free. Where are you from, Tarun?
I'm from Bangalore.
Okay. So, yeah, welcome. So, yeah,
Thank you, ma'am.
yeah, so tell me, what's the question?
These aspects, the Graha Drushti activate only during their dashas, or always it is present actually on a planet?
They are always present. I mean, this is a drishti, it's definitely.
No, I have heard from Pandit Sanjay Rath sir, like during their dashas only the aspect, the desire will be activated. Is it true or what? No.
I don't know what you mean by desires will be activated. Those some yogas remain. Can't hear you
The
very
planet.
well. I think your internet connection is really bad. But essentially what I'm saying is a lot of these yogas, they will, through the agency of dashas and everything, they get supercharged. It's like, getting sort of fired up once you go through that sub period, antardasha, or a sub period, or the main primary dasha, or so these yogas get activated. But that doesn't mean that they are never existent. They will have some influence or the other, invariably.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so shall we begin? Any more questions?
Well, Sonia, is just me a clarification, and I'm really confused with my D9, because according to the calculation I did from a last week class, my Lagna should be Cancer. But for example, in an app, I have an app, the Pachanga, and in some other apps, I saw that I'm Sagittarius. I don't know if you still have my chart.
I do have your chart.
And which is the Lagna in the D9 in my chart?
Okay, Margarita, let me just, shall we tackle this towards the end?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because I do have your chart and this will help everybody, because as I mentioned earlier in the Telegram group, Margarita, I think you have Scorpio middling degrees, isn't it? It's like 16 degrees of Scorpio, your Lagna, right? Now, if you see the chart of Navāṃśa, it's the middling degrees is Sagittarius. I think it's Sagittarius. I will have to check, because you see, for a Scorpio is a fixed sign, right? And for the fixed signs, how we calculate the Navāṃśa is very clear. The first 3.2 degrees we take from the 9th house, which is the sign is Cancer. So the first 3.2 degrees is always going to be Cancer for Scorpio Lagna. So that it's impossible you will be Scorpio Lagna.
Right.
Unless your degrees are early degrees of Scorpio. So it's not going to happen. Cancer you won't get a Cancer Lagna. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's more accurate. Thank you so much.
Okay. So now, guys, we are going to do a very exciting few things about the Navāṃśa Lagna today. Now, the thing with, of course, it is to do with relationships. It is to do with, relationships and marriage, but you will be surprised as it is not just, we are not just seeing relationships. We are seeing sexuality. We are seeing also many factors from Navāṃśa. We are seeing wealth. We are seeing talents. We are also, by seeing these things and very specifically pinpointing that which, what talents we bring, we can easily rectify the chart. We can easily figure out if there is a problems in the birth chart discrepancy. We can figure out where the actual chart is just by a few calculations and looking at the Navāṃśa chart. So that's why the D9 chart is very, very important to know. And do not underestimate that, it's just like 5-10 things, and we see the children, we see the relationship and marriage. It's way, way more than that. Navāṃśa is very, very deep. And that's why I'm going to take even next session. I've pushed a few things aside, but next week also we are going to do another aspect of the Navāṃśa chart, because there are many, many factors in the Navāṃśa chart. It's not just one thing. Yeah. So let's get started. As we saw last time, right, that the concept of Vargottama is about strength in the chart. Anything, any planet or even the Lagna being Vargottama means that it would be, it will have considerable amount of strength. Now, I told all of you to figure out what all planets are Vargottama for in your chart, and you needed to see all that. And I think a lot of you have, like a few people, I don't know if they are there here tonight, but a few people mentioned that they had Mercury Vargottama, right? Somebody mentioned that.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Ingrid, was that you, Ingrid?
No, it's Lou.
Who? Sorry?
Louisa.
Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. Oh, yes.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Are you muted, or can you? Yeah. Go on.
You could. Can you see and hear me now?
Yes, I can. Hang on. Yes, I can see you, Louise. Yeah. Hi.
Hello there.
Hi. So you mentioned that you had Mercury Vargottama, right?
Yeah, debilitated Vargottama.
Well, debilitation also has its own share of, its own, what do you call,
complexities.
Yes, absolutely. It is going to have, especially when you talk about the debilitation of Mercury, it will be in the end degrees of Pisces, right? And n degrees of Pisces will make it also Vargottama. But the trouble with the n degrees of Pisces is it is also Gandanta. That means on like a karmic knot, it's n degrees of Revati going into Ashwini. That means in sign of Aries. So it's sort of like forming a bridge, you see. So, and these are very karmic positions. They are very difficult positions. They're very challenging positions, and presumably is Mercury also your Atmakaraka?
Yeah. Sure is, yeah.
Yeah. So this will again bring you a lot of things in terms of learning, a lot of challenges in terms of learning. So, so not everything is negative, but you have to be aware that Mercury, as you see here, I have given you key things about certain planetary alignments being Vargottama or not. Like for Mercury, if it's in the same sign, then it's speech and vak, that is communication, speech, learning. That is a big focus. That is your strength, no doubt about that. It's a blessing to have the Atmakaraka as Vargottama, because no matter what house it is in, even if it is going to be difficult, but it will equip you to make its performance absolutely in the best position it can be, you know. So even if it's in the let's say I mean some astrologers I know say like, oh, it works as exalted and all that. I'm quite conservative when I make those kind of judgments, because I will withhold that judgment. I'm not clear about whether it works as like an exalted planet. I'm not sure about that, but what it does do is it brings a lot of things in focus, but it definitely gives you a great amount and reserve of strength, you know.
Yeah,
And
I feel very, very akin to planet Mercury, Prince Mercury, definitely.
yeah, it is the prince. And
Yeah.
and the thing is, planets work through the crown chakra, so they are what they appear in the Rashi chart as well as in the Navāṃśa chart. They will give you the same results. There's no like hidden agendas. There's nothing. It's in your face. It's there for you to evaluate, there's not going to be hanky panking around, compared to the other planets where they may have other things, other aspects overruling it. But when it is Vargottama, it is full strength, full throttle ahead.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So, but the debilitation is a separate story altogether.
Oh yeah.
That in itself is a lot of karmically. There's a lot going on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question to that.
Yes.
Because mine is also, I'm also in Vargottama with Mercury.
Yeah.
And mine is exalted.
Okay.
But I was reading that this is not possible. That's in Vargottama, and at the same time it's exalted. I think it depends upon the exact degree. Do you know something about that, or?
That's not true, because you have often moon in Rohini is exalted, and it is Vargottama as well. The middling degrees of fixed signs, and especially middling degrees of Taurus, is in its exaltation. As sorry, it's not. It is the moon in Taurus is exalted, and in Rohini Nakshatra, which is the middling degrees, the middling band, it is also in the same sign, Taurus. So that's Vargottama. So the moon is exalted, and Vargottama, that's a very strong moon, you know. So I think yours would be in Chitra, I think. I assume it's in Chitra Nakshatra.
It's in Virgo.
But it's in the last degrees of Virgo, right?
Okay. Yeah, it's in Chitra, right?
Yeah, it has to be in Chitra because it's the last degrees of. You remember what I said? All the dual signs, the Dvishwa Bhava Rashis will have their their Vargottama positions. They will be in the same signs towards the end of the sign. Yeah, the last 3 degrees of the sign. Yeah.
And the nice thing, on the one hand, I don't know what it means. I think the nice thing is that it has Jupiter on its side in the D9, but Jupiter comes from the 4th house, from the 9th house.
Okay, let's discuss your chart. Okay, at the end we'll make it a little bit more interactive, because this is all about abilities and rectifying and all and things like that. So this is going to be quite pertinent to the discussion. So let's put up your chart. I don't have your chart in grid, so I will put it up, unless you have your chart and you can tell us.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the Jupiter took 3 steps, so I think it's not so nice, right? If if a planet comes 3 steps, 3 houses, then that's not a good sign, from the Rashi sign to the D9 sign.
That's not true. We'll see that.
Okay.
We'll cover that. Yeah. Let's not make assessments like that. Okay. So if you have Sun Vargottama, that means it's in the same sign, then you really are leader of leaders. You know, you have the ability to shine and absolutely have great vision. You're a great visionary, you know, and you are able to, with your vision, you are able to lead people through thick and thin and through lot of, so it's exceptional leadership quality. We are not talking of normal people here, you know. Sun Vargottama is a very, very, I mean, top CEOs and all that, is that kind of position you should look for, you know, because you will have that ability to be able to manifest those qualities and bring forth. Now, with when you have Moon Vargottama, you are highly emotional but extremely solid in terms of your strength, mental abilities. You know, there's a sense of great forbearance, lot of stability, no matter what life throws at you. You know, so having Moon Vargottama is a huge blessing, because literally whatever people throw at you, you'll be able to kind of, you know, um, sort of take it in your stride, just by sheer strength of your mental will. Then we have Mars. If it is Vargottama, there's a lot of physical strength in terms of like you're very hardy, you know, there's a lot of sense of like, hey, I'm strong. So if you notice, a lot of people who have Mars Vargottama will be like full of energy, and they will have very strong reservoirs of inner strength. And when you have Mercury, there's a lot of good communication, lot of learning, lot of speech, beautiful, you know, they're forever, they're excellent communicators, and their understanding of subjects is also very, very positive, very good. Yeah. Then we come to the Venus, Shukra. If it is Vargottama, then you are super, super tough. You're a tough cookie. You can fight through all the battles, diseases. You can get rid of, you know, there is a remarkable sense of fighting spirit. You know, you can really bounce back quite easily. If it is Jupiter, then you have great intelligence. You know, Jupiter gives you a great sense of intelligence, using your mind, your vision. That is what Jupiter gives. I know a lot of people with Jupiter in exaltation and Vargottama, and they are absolutely, they can think through 50 steps ahead. You know, it's like, it's some kind of like a vision they have. They are just able to really break through and really capture all aspects. So you need a lot of intelligence for that, and that the Jupiter gives very well. Then we have Shani, which gives you a great ability to bear and digest sorrow, any kind of pain and suffering. Shani will give you, and especially it will give you great reservoirs of strength as well. That's very important with Shani, because Shani is like it gives you a lot of deep strength, you know, to see and able to bear the pain that everything people are going to throw at you, and life circumstances will throw at you. Then we have Rahu, the north node. And tell me, if there, you often see people who are able to cross boundaries, who are able to literally overcome a lot of limitations in terms of knowledge and expansion, even if it is simple things like, like their businesses and things like that. They simply have a great vision. They are able to sort of just ignore the all the limited factors, and then they are able to overcome those. So that is a definitive talent to have Rahu as your as Vargottama. And Ketu Vargottama, well, obviously if Rahu is Vargottama, most likelihood Ketu will be Vargottama. And Ketu Vargottama will give you great powers of intuition. You are naturally intuitive. See, you see, the thing with Rahu is he's able to think. If you go back to some of the previous early talks, I talked about the Samudra Manthan and the churning of the ocean, and how Rahu and Ketu were split. The Rahu became the dragon's head and Ketu became the tail. And Rahu, because it has a big head, many, many heads, it's able to think. That's all it can do. It can think, it can desire, it wants. While Ketu, it has no head. It has only the tail portion. So it's completely headless. So basically, people who have no heads use their psychical abilities. They are literally they are not, there's no analysis, there's no any sense of like thinking through things. They just intuitively know. And at some level, skills in maths is also quite intuitive. If you are very, very brilliant at mathematics, and you may be highly intuitive a person, because these people will be able to even feel. They have a feel for numbers, and that is depicted by blessings from Ganesh, because one of the key mantras for Ganesh is Gananam Tva Ganpate Hum Havamahe, and that is it begins with the ode to Ganesh. And the green bija is again to do with Ganesh. So Ketu is any blessings of Ganesh, it's coming to us, Ketu depicting skills in maths. So Ganesh skills in mathematics and numbers is very much linked with Ketu. And then we have the Lagna. I probably can't see it here, but when you have Lagna Vargottama, that means you have great health, fantastic quality of health. And of course, you are going to live a long, long time, because you have the blessings of the Mrityunjay Shiva, so those are definitely some key blessings that will come to you. Yeah. So any questions so far?
No question.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we learned like a couple of things last time, that, you take the whatever the Navāṃśa Lagna, and then you see it in the chart, in your Rashi chart. Bring it to the Rashi chart and see where it falls. The other exercise I got you guys to do is see the temporary Lagna. So, for example, the temporary Lagna from the Navāṃśa. So that is the fifth from there. So for example, if your Navāṃśa Lagna and the D9 Lagna is the same, right? That means it's Vargottama. That means the fifth from there is actually the fifth house in Rashi. So if you take the 10th house from the fifth, right? It becomes the second house you get. So the second house is where your karma lies, where the focus is. And so people who have Vargottama Lagna will often have, the results will be that they are very family orientated. They are, they are into families, health, long life, all that is given. So their big karma, they are always toying with like, hey, wealth generation, creating a family, because the second house is the house of Kutumb, that is a family life. And so the second house becomes a key player in their consciousness. And that's why the karma bhava, the karma in D1, then their focus shifts to the second house if you have Vargottama Lagna. Yeah. So similarly, taking the same principle, you're doing two things. You're basically looking at the fifth house in the Navāṃśa, from the Navāṃśa Lagna. The fifth house from the Navāṃśa Lagna is basically saying, what's your consciousness? What is it that you're trying to learn? What is it that you're trying to do? And then the 10th house from there, you are checking, seeing that sign and bringing it into the Rashi chart. And that is what you're literally, that is where your karma lies. So for example, the second house, if your Navāṃśa Lagna is in the second house from the Rashi Lagna, then the sixth house becomes the fifth house from the second, and then the focus is literally on the third house in the Rashi chart. Okay, so now we have learned previously that the third house is associated with parakram, that is fighting spirit, going and sort of showing courage. And so it's the house of sort of courage and things like that. So there's going to be, your karma is like, there's always like some kind of firefighting going on and things like that. Anybody has this combination? No?
I have got the first one.
I have, madam.
Who is that? Tarun?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I have Gemini in third house, Aries ascendant.
What's your Lagna ascendant?
Aries, ma'am.
Aries. Okay, lovely. And what's your Navāṃśa Lagna?
Taurus, ma'am.
Okay. So that is definite. Do you relate to that? Do you relate?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Very true. Very true.
Do you have a lot of planets in the third house in Rashi?
I have Jupiter in Marana Karakasthana, and the Mercury is in 11th house actually.
Okay. Okay.
And mine is the first case.
Oh,
So
is
I have
it?
got Oksana.
Yeah, okay. Oksana, that's very lucky though, having a Vargottama Lagna. The long life is very much promised there.
Okay, let's hope.
So what is your Lagna?
Capricorn.
Okay. So it's in Uttarashada, yeah, the Lagna?
Yeah, sure. Exactly, yes.
Yeah, very, very strong. And even yours is very strong. There's a lot of fighting spirit. Tarun, I would not negate the Jupiter in the third house. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
I know a lot of people with Jupiter in the third house who are Aries Lagna. And actually, Guruji, the Vedic tradition that I follow.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I've seen that actually.
Yeah.
He's always praised it actually because it looks at its own house.
Yes, absolutely. Not its own house. It's it's not really. In a way, it is for Aries. It is its own house. But if anyone, not just Aries Lagna, if anyone has got Jupiter in the third house, even though it is in Maranasthana, but it is having a drishti on the ninth house, which is a lot of blessing, So that's what I meant, that, it's not all that bad having Jupiter in the third house. Yeah. So we will have to check what is happening in the Rashi, in the Navāṃśa and all that, and we'll figure out. Now,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
yeah. Now in D9, if it is in the third house, we can continue this exercise. But what I wanted to basically bring home to you is that the second house, from wherever after you bring it in your from the Navāṃśa Lagna, that sign, you have to bring it into your Rashi chart, and that is where your karma lies. So I won't go too much into otherwise it will be here a lot of time. And there is a very important things I want to cover with you. One is before we'll come back to this chart here of Marie Curie, but here I want to kind of highlight very, very fundamental things here. Now, the thing is that Navāṃśa chart, when we talk of the Navāṃśa chart, it's called the Bhagya Amsha, and also the Dharmamsha. That means when we talk of Dharma, the first house, fifth house, and the ninth house have got involved, right? And the trine houses are very, very significant. So we always see all the trine houses. So when we look at the Navāṃśa chart, when we look at the second house, we'll see it not just as a second house, we'll see it as a second house, sixth house, and 10th house. When we see the Navāṃśa Lagna, we are not just going to see the Navāṃśa Lagna, we are going to see the fifth house and we are going to see the ninth house. Is everybody clear on that? Because this is very fundamental. Yeah.
Yes.
And planets in Navāṃśa Lagna are going to show you what talents that have come very naturally to you this lifetime. It literally flows. Now, I'm going to give you a list of all the planets. I have written here only the sun, but I can tell you one thing. If you have, let's say, sun in Navāṃśa Lagna, okay? Doesn't matter the sign, okay? Next week, we will do like each of the various Navāṃśa Lagnas, and then we'll do moon in various Navāṃśas, okay? But that's for next week. This week, we are literally tackling the trines. 1, 5, 9 planets in there, and 2, 6, and 10 planets in there, and 4, 8, and 12 and planets in there. Okay, so if we have planets, let's say in the first house, Navāṃśa Lagna, it will lend its entire color to you. So now, when I often see some clients, if I feel that, I rectify, this is a great tool for rectification, having planets in Navāṃśa Lagna. Let's say you have Rahu in Navāṃśa Lagna. The first thing I ask them is, hey, did you have a difficult childbirth? Or did your mother have problems on the delivery table giving birth to you? Was it a complicated delivery? Were you a breech baby? Were you a forceps delivery? Right? So you may well ask, well, why? Because you see, any Rahu and Ketu shows it's like the umbilical cord, some complications with that, because it's like the serpent's energy has hijacked the normal flow of the moon, the mother and the mothering instinct coming through and delivering. So the Rahu and Ketu have like kind of hijacked that. So often you will have, these children will have a problem. The mother would have had problems, and then the children, if they were C-section or something like that, they will have Rahu and Ketu in Lagna. So there is a foolproof way of rectifying the chart. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah. So it's a very simple principle, very simple. I would like you to find out, ask your friends, family, and see if anyone has got that. I will also try finding some of the charts. I think I may have some charts. I'm not sure. But anyway, the second thing is, if you have sun on your Navāṃśa Lagna, sun in Navāṃśa Lagna will give you a lot of talent for music, instruments. It could be writing. It could well be anything, any of those, like guitars or piano playing or something like that. It will also make you a little bit, because sun is very strong Agni, so it can even give you less hair on the head, especially if it is sun in Leo. Then it's like, you have no hair, barely any hair, so often you find men who are like balding early, or even like women who are losing hair early. And if you have sun in Lagna, then that it's kind of ties up. Yeah. So then we come to the moon. Now this is absolutely, it works like a charm. When you have moon in Navāṃśa Lagna, you will have a remarkable and natural ability to sing. Absolutely beautiful. One of the great singers in India, Lata Mangeshkar, has actually got a parivartana with moon, and the moon comes into Lagna. I'm not sure. I will have to check her chart. If anybody can find her chart and put it up, Tarun, feel free. Yeah. So she definitely has. Even Celine Dion has got it. I wasn't looking for the charts, but a lot of singers will have moon either in the first house, the fifth house, or the ninth house. Now you may well ask, what is the difference between having planets in the first house, fifth house, and ninth house? First house, which is nothing but the Navāṃśa Lagna, that means it is coming naturally. You were born with it. It's innate in you, okay? The fifth house, you have to, the guru, or you land up like being really good in school, and then people see you that, wow, you're really good, you get picked up for the school choir, you know. Often we hear stories like there are kids who sing really well, and then the music teacher has noticed their abilities, and then they train those kids. So that means the teacher or the guru has actually come to you. Yeah. So that makes it easier. That's the fifth house. So you naturally acquire the skills from quite an early age, and it will happen in a very holistic manner. Now, if you have it in the ninth house, that means you will consciously have to go to the guru or a learning institution, or or a certain place where you will actually need to learn that. Yeah. Does that make sense, everybody?
It does.
Yes, and if you have a malefic
Ah.
or a cruel planet like the sun.
We are coming to that. If you have malefics in Lagna, if you have Saturn.
No, in D9, in the 9th house of D9.
Yeah,
because
you're a hard worker. I've got that. You're a hardworking person. Yes, you're a hardworking person. But bear in mind, we also have to see what the Shani is doing in the chart, okay? What house it rules. But I'll tell you one thing, one nice secret. Shani, what is the Shani the Karaka for?
Hard work, isolation.
Yes, but it is a Karaka. No, what is a Karaka? As in, what houses is it Karaka for in the Rashi
yeah.
chart?
6, 8, and 12.
Lovely. Now, when we talk about if Shani is in trines in your Navāṃśa Lagna, or in your fifth house or in the ninth, what it will do is any kind of problems in your Rashi chart in the 6th, 8th, or 12th, Shani will manage it very, very well. Because the Karaka is in a good position in D9.
I see.
So it is actually a blessing to have any planet in the trine houses in D9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even Rahu.
Yes, even Rahu, even though Rahu is in a Marana Sthana, if Rahu is in the 9th house, you will actually go to a guru to learn, to, you're going to be a very studious person. You're going to learn astrology, occult sciences, all of that. I'm sorry, somebody put hi guys, can you speak up? Because I cannot see the chat while this is going on, while it's recording and things like that. So you will have to speak up.
I did not write anything, but can you repeat the thing with the Rahu in Lagna? So because that's my case in the D9.
Okay. So when you were born, did your mother have a difficult time delivering you? Were there complications? Often you have stories of the children being born on the delivery table and it couldn't come out. The head wouldn't locate properly, or it wouldn't fix, or you had to pull it out with forceps, or the umbilical cord got wrapped around the neck and things like that. Is any of that happened?
I don't remember quite well. I just know that I have a pretty big head, and maybe that was a complication. Maybe my mom told me about it. Yeah, but what does that have? Which implications does it have?
That is if you have Rahu in Lagna.
Yeah, I have it in the D9 Lagna, exactly.
Okay, so you may have to ask your mother what happened. Was it
I cannot ask her any longer.
Oh, okay. Is she okay?
Yeah.
Okay, somebody would know. Is there any record or hospital record?
Yeah, maybe I can ask an aunt. But does it have any other implications? Like, what does that what does it mean to me?
Oh, it's very positive. I mean, it depends on what the Rahu is Karaka for, what is it, what Charakaraka it is, and things like that. So, but having Rahu in Lagna is very positive, you know.
Oh God, I'm so happy because I was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, no, 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 it is very positive. Like I said, any planet will give you, you know, Rahu has an ability of using his head, so he has multiple heads, so he's going to be like very, very focused on research abilities, you know, delving into many subjects. He will go and learn from a lot of people, you know. Those are the kind of talents that Rahu will bring to the table.
Okay, and what did you say about the serpent that did cut something?
The serpents, yeah, I mean, the serpents, basically, the moon is to do with a natural flow, natural delivery. You know, the mother ideally has to, you know, in the ideal world, the moon is responsible for a very smooth delivery of a child. But if you have Rahu and Ketu influencing your Lagna, then the delivery is subverted, and it's kind of like, you know, they take over, you know. So
Okay.
that's what I meant, because it's like the serpent energy being taken over. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So then we come to, if you have like Venus in any of these houses, you're very beautiful in terms of its, you have talents for photography skills, you know, beautiful products, creating a lot of attention to, you know, small things. And, you know, you're very particular about specifics and things like that. And so as Mercury will give you a natural ability to make money, you know, make commercial dealings and writing and things like that. You know, Mars will give you abundance of energy, like huge amounts of energy. Also engineering skills it will give you, you know, if you are so inclined. Yeah. And similarly, now there's another one beautiful thing, that if you have Ketu in Lagna, Navāṃśa Lagna, you have a brilliant ability for maths and numbers and number crunching. You know, those people who are just like wizards and who can just like pick up things and it just flows naturally. And by the time kind of you finish doing your calculation, they've hit the answer and they've spit it out, you know, in terms of number crunching and all. Those people will probably have Ketu in Lagna or Ketu in the fifth house, you know. If you have Ketu in the ninth house, then you also have significant astrology, interest in research and astrology, machines, you know, small machines or big machines. Big machines is more Rahu, small machines is more Ketu. Yeah? Sorry, guys. Do you mind turning that off? um, okay, so and then the ninth house. So the key difference between the fifth and the ninth is that you have to in the
Ma'am,
ninth house you have to go to a guru, you have to go to an actual designated teacher to tap into that the talent signified by that planet. While in the fifth house, the teacher is kind of, you just fall into it holistically and normally. Yeah, go on. Any questions?
I posted Lata Mangeshkar ji chart on Telegram, ma'am. I'm using mobile, so and internet connectivity is also very low.
It's okay.
So
Do it later. No problem.
okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
I would be interested, not just Lata Mangeshkar, who's called the Nightingale of India, but a lot of singers, and I know Celine Dion has her moon. There are a lot of people I know who sing, and and this is like a foolproof way. Whenever I see moon in Lagna, I always ask, "Do you sing?" And when people say, and I have come across clients who've gone and said, "Oh my God, how did you know I sing? I'm like a professional singer." And I'm like, yeah, moon in Lagna, it will always give you a great musical ability for singing and things like that. So,
Ma'am,
anyway,
but I have moon in Lagna.
do you not sing?
No, ma'am, I don't sing, but I'm very addicted to music actually.
Well, you should try it then, or maybe we need to change your Navāṃśa Lagna.
Okay, okay.
You know, but moon in Lagna
Moon
will.
and Venus combination in Taurus.
Oh, very nice. So you definitely need to sing. Are you quite particular, very detail orientated?
No, actually, I'm very much interested, but I don't sing, but very much addicted to music always. Like, it's like a rejuvenation for me, listening to music always.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, we may have to correct the Navāṃśa Lagna. So, anyways, so everybody understood that there is a fundamental difference between the fifth and the ninth house. Yes, one you have to go to actually a teacher, while the fifth house, you fall naturally in line with it. You know, you do have to go in both instances, but here in the ninth house, you actually have to go seek out in a very conscious way the teacher concerned and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have Ketu in ninth house in Navāṃśa. So I think like one day, you know, to go somewhere specifically, maybe ashram to study astrology. I don't know if I need to go that far, but I know I need a teacher because I've been studying since 2016, but I have difficulty applying what I'm learning.
Are you studying Western astrology or
Vedic.
okay?
Yeah, yeah. Since 2016, but I can't always. I'm not reading charts very well. You know, sometimes I can, but I just have a passion for it more than a talent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it will come. Yeah, I mean, it will. The teacher will help you to kind of. Anyway, for Vedic learning, you need a teacher. You know, somebody who's gone through the training and who can teach Vedic. So
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
yeah. So without that, it's a non-starter. So.
Yeah.
But it also will give you a good a good talent for deep research and astrology research and things like that. So you should try doing that, you know, and see how far you get. Because Rahu and Ketu has the ability to cross borders and all limitations, you know, and work with. And Ketu often indicates talents also to do with computers
Uh-huh.
because they are like smaller machines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you do anything in computers?
Well, I work with them every day, but
Yeah, but we all do that. but-
yeah, not particularly, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, maybe someday it'll come.
Yeah, it's just the research for sure. You know, I
Yeah.
do get a bit obsessed with research, and I can go down a big rabbit hole sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Okay, guys, can you unmute yourselves, please, now? Or those who are not asking questions, because I can hear all kinds of noise. Okay. Okay, there we go. There's some kind of weird noise there. Okay. Now let's move to the other set here. Now, if you have fifth house, Lagna from the Rashi Lagna is in the fifth house. The fifth house is of from the fifth house, we get the ninth house, and the second from the fifth house is in D9 is a sixth house in D1 when we transpose it. And often we will get oops, this has got a little bit it should be sixth house here. So so the sixth house is of strife, service, enemies, conflict, resolution. So that is your big karma. Often you'll be called upon to do some kind of definitive firefighting, some kind of service orientated stuff. Now we are going to, just like we tackled the 159, we are going to do the 2, 6, and 10. And that's where the beauty of the sixth house will come in, because this, again, like the 159, the 2, 6, and 10, here we come to the 2, 6, and 10. They are um, the trines, but they have to do with, absolutely to do with, like, wealth, and they have to do with your actual skills, your skill set that you learn. Now this is different to the 159, which is kind of a natural ability, a natural talent. This is, we are talking of an acquired training skills. And so it's like you may have a innate ability for something, but in order for it to work, for it to manifest, and for you to be able to earn money from there, you need to put it some kind of like a manifestation, like you need to train it, you need to kind of make sure that it works, so that you are kind of eligible for a job and things like that. And that is where you will see the second, sixth, and 10th house in the D9 chart. Now people say, oh, we'll see the Dashamsha for the 10th. No, for wealth, we always see the 10th house. That's the Lakshmi. That's where the Lakshmi sits. In the 10th house is one of the most important house is in Navāṃśa chart. It is where you will have actual wealth. Planets sitting there are a huge blessing, especially if it is a benefic. If it is Mercury, then it will give you money through teaching and through kind of communication and those kind of skills. If you have Jupiter there, you will be able to kind of study a lot of things, and through a lot of specific knowledge and things like that, you'll be able to teach, and it will give you money through counseling and all of that. If, let's say, you have Venus there, then through artistic products and things like that, making beautiful creative products, you'll be able to make money. That is one of your best, it's like your trump card. They are going to be very, very helpful for you. If there are any planets you want to strengthen, you want to rely upon, that's the 10th house planets in your Navāṃśa chart. Now, a mode of warning: if you have malefics there, they are going to make you lose money. Okay, we can't get away from it. Maybe in the past life you robbed a bank or something, I don't know. I'm just kind of making it a little bit jocular here, that in the past life, maybe if you have Rahu in the 10th house in Navāṃśa chart, then maybe you robbed a bank or something, or you robbed some institution, and that's why you've landed up having Rahu in Lagna. Rahu in the in the 10th house in D10. So D9. So that is, you have to be aware then of that. It's literally like it's a karma thing. You need to just pay it off. Okay. So any ideas? Anyone's got any planets in the 10th house?
Yeah, I do. I have got Mercury retrograde in 10th house in D9.
Excellent. Now the retrograde means that you will keep trying, you won't give up. Retrograde have got like, very, it's kind of like a double-edged sword with retrograde. They are not just, they are frustrated. They are like, I want it. I should have got it yesterday and I haven't got it. That's the flavor of retrograde. And they will keep trying and keep trying. It may not,
Okay.
you may not succeed always, but sometimes you will succeed. So but having Mercury there is a huge blessing. Do you feel that you have earned, have you benefited financially from that Mercury?
Okay, so let me ask a different question then. Does Mercury stand for foreign languages and foreign contacts and
Of course.
okay, and gaining
Of
through those
course.
contacts? Yeah, right. Then it is true. Yes, sure.
Sorry,
I-
who is this? Is that Oksana?
Yes, it's me.
Okay. Of course, Oksana, definitely. So are you, do you teach Russian?
No, I don't teach Russian actually. I do teach English and I know Turkish also.
Excellent.
And I used to speak German as well, but it was long ago.
See?
Actually, yes.
See that Lakshmi, that is what is being given to you just on the power of that Mercury in the 10th house in D9. You see? And that
And
is how you correct it. That is how you would correct the Navāṃśa chart, you know? If you have a, let's say you have a private banker who comes to you, and let's say he's got Jupiter in the 10th, or, you know, maybe Venus in the 10th, and he's like a consulting banker, and he's done really well, you would immediately say that, you know, you'll be able to correct the Navāṃśa and place that Jupiter or Venus there, you see.
yeah, sure, right. And besides, I have also worked for an Indian company, actually for the representative of GIC of India,
Yeah.
General Insurance Corporation. So when he was based here in Russia, I used to work with him, I mean, with the representative himself. And actually all my life is somehow connected to foreigners and foreign contacts a lot.
Absolutely superb. That is fantastic. That's a blessing, yeah. So like I said, guys, go through all your charts and
Ma'am.
you will always know that second 10th house benefics is an absolute blessing. Yes, go on. Is that Tarun?
Ma'am, I have confusion actually. You are referring to second house from D9, or it is actually 10th house. Basically, it is 10th house from D9 Lagna.
It's
As you
10th
said,
house.
D9 Lagna, you have to
It's
D9 Lagna, you have to consider it as 9th house.
no. This is, I'm talking of, now we've moved on. We did the 159 for talents and innate abilities. Now we are doing the second, sixth, and 10th house in the D9 chart. I'm not doing this anymore. As in, like, you know, I gave a few examples of, you know, how we see the 5th house and bring it to the, that is, we did the Amsha Tulya Rashi. That is, we are just looking at the Navāṃśa Lagna and then bringing it into the Rashi chart. And then we see the second from the D9 Navāṃśa Lagna. And that sign will tell us where our karma focuses in the Rashi chart. Okay. So we've gone that, but that is again a principle, similar principle to this particular one I'm talking about, which is any house in D9, second house, sixth house, whatever your D9 Lagna, second house, sixth house, and 10th house is what we are looking at from the Navāṃśa Lagna. Is that clear?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, it's
Clear,
very
ma'am. Thank
simple.
you.
It's very simple. That is a separate, like a slightly, it's like, you know, there are, like I said, there are many layers to the Navāṃśa chart. It is not as simple as people say, hey, it's for marriage. No, it's not just for marriage and seeing the partner. We see many things from the Navāṃśa chart. That is why it is termed as your Bhagya, Bhagyamsha, because it is where your destiny is. How can we have a destiny when we are not able to tell what kind of money we will have, what kind of knowledge we will have, what kind of talents we bring in this lifetime? I mean, what kind of a bhagya is that? You know? So do you understand, Tarun, that it is not just about seeing where my spouse is coming from and which year my marriage will break up? You know, it's also predominantly about what's my destiny, what's my bhagya, what's my dharma. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah. So now, guys, I would like you feel free to put in the Telegram group anything to do with the 10th house in Navāṃśa chart. If you have planets which is benefic, doesn't matter. If you have even malefics, I would like to know what happened. And because these are this is the most important house. It's one of the most important kendra ever. And in some ways it's even more important kendra compared to the Rashi chart, because what the planets in here are really going to open up doors for you, provided they're benefics. Yeah.
Yeah, but when, how do I know when this will happen? Like if there is a planet like Saturn, so how do I know when will it happen?
Correct, ma'am. When will this Navāṃśa activate actually?
The Navāṃśa is active all the time. People say, oh, it gets activated when, at certain points, depending on like Saturn's maturity age is like 34 to 36. If we use one kind of maturity model, so it will get activated then. If you have gone through an adasha or an antardasha before that, it will get activated then. So there are many levels again to see when and how they get activated. But bear in mind, let's say if you have Saturn in Navāṃśa Lagna, it's an inherent talent you have. That's going to be there for you. It's innate in you. You'll be good with numbers. You'll be good with things, So
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
In the 10th house. It's in the 10th house.
it's in the, well, then there may have been some kind of loss and financial problems, but we'll yeah, feel free to put up. Is that Ingrid? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so feel free to put up your chart in the Telegram group,
Yeah.
please.
And Sonal,
yeah.
for example, as Ingrid said, she's got Rahu in the 10th house in the D9. If this Rahu happened to be in Aquarius,
Yeah.
would be less bad.
Well,
Would it? Is a question.
very good question. Will it be less bad?
Even if it's his own house, no, really.
Not really.
No, really. Rahu is Rahu.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Rahu is Rahu. It's a malefic in the 10th house. There's some kind of a, you goofed up in a past lifetime.
Yeah.
And so this lifetime, I'm afraid,
Yeah.
so sorry, but it's a good exercise, you'll pay off the karma and it's not so bad,
This is why we're here. Otherwise,
exactly.
we wouldn't be here.
And also please bear in mind that it's not like, oh my God, there's only going to be loss forever. It's not like that, but it will be a drain on your resources. Yeah. So you have to be aware of that. So that much more you will have to earn. Yeah. Okay. So now the second house is one of the most beautiful houses in the Navāṃśa chart. It's also called, my guru calls it the Saraswati Yoga is formed in this house, especially if you have benefics here, because you have the blessings of that knowledge coming in, that skill that is coming in. You can study it by yourself. It's like if you have like Venus there or Ketu there, if you consider Ketu a benefic, it's beautiful because then you can study, do deep research, it's absolutely fantastic. Now, second house also shows your character. What kind of character are you? So obviously, malefics are not welcome in this house because it shows very questionable character. And not just that, it often in early childhood, if you have like Rahu or let's say Rahu or Shani or Sun conjunction. I recently did a chart for somebody and they had this Surya with Rahu and Shani. There was like a Shraddha yoga and happening, and it was really bad. And I asked them if they went through some kind of abuse in early childhood. And sure enough, they did, so often, but you have to be very careful before you ask a client or anyone that, hey, the second house, if you see malefics there, that, oh, definitely she's gone through abuse, you have to be very careful with that. But if we look at Oprah Winfrey's chart, we'll take it up from next time, because Oprah Winfrey, let me just change over to do a new share and show you before we go to the Oprah Winfrey's chart, because Oprah Winfrey went through a lot of emotional abuse and physical abuse by her father very early on in her life as a child. Can everybody see the screen here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
here, if you see, this is Oprah Winfrey's chart, Sagittarius Lagna, as you can see. Okay. If you see, her second house is packed here in the Rashi chart. Now, maybe her Navāṃśa is not quite correct. I think it needs to be here. I think it's maybe a wrong time, slightly off key, but there is issues last time we did her chart. I think, yes, I think this is much more. Let's see. Yeah, so this is much more correct. Can everybody see Mars Ketu here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Debilitated Mars.
Sorry.
Debilitated Mars.
Yeah. One sec. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. Ketu Mars, absolutely dire. Yeah. So she went through a lot of abuse very early on. I think she was abused even by her stepfather, and she ran away and things like that. Okay. So often planets here will give you a very early malefics here, especially, will give you a lot of problems here. And but of course she fought back, and so she's a self-made woman and things like that. She's a hardworking woman. As you can see here, her lagna is Gemini, Navāṃśa lagna, and it's the moon. Now we all know the moon in Libra, in the fifth house. Now, she may not sing, but her bulk of her work is to do with people's problems. She's like a talk host, and that's to do with the moon. It's all very lunar, her work. She gets people to talk about their problems, and, it's like, and it's for the whole wide world to hear. And then she's got Shani as well in trines, so she's a very, very hardworking woman. There is no doubt about that. I mean, her hard work is phenomenal. So you see that is definitely a talent that is coming for her. So the trines will always give you great, great ability. Is is everybody clear on that?
Yes,
Yeah. Now, often you also have to realize one thing, and before we go, I'm going to leave this with you. The eighth house is the most malefic house in the Navāṃśa chart. The eighth lord, any planet, any graha which is in the eighth house of your D9, guaranteed there is going to be huge karma this lifetime. That planet will hunt you down. Make sure you finish the karma that planet is asking of you. Otherwise, it will not let go of you. So you have to remember that about the eighth house and the eighth lord. If you have planets there, you look at the planet, bring them into Rashi chart and see what houses they rule, and things like that. Yeah. Now, for her,
Very
let's,
true, ma'am. Very true, ma'am.
sorry? Sorry?
It's very true, actually.
Yeah,
Very true, ma'am.
yeah, absolutely.
Planets in
And if you see her Rahu, she's got Rahu there. Rahu in her Rahu in her Rashi chart rules her third house. Third house is the house of entertainment, is the house of Parakrama. She's been super brave. She was like absolutely abused and in poverty, thrown out of her home. Her mother threw her out. She was estranged from her mother for years. And then she came back, and finally her mother acknowledged her after she was such a phenomenal success in terms of wealth and, you know, the television shows that she created. It was hard work. That is a very third house theme. She had to do this for herself, you know. That was what she was born to do. So she couldn't have ignored that Rahu, you see. And Rahu sees no boundaries. And guess what? And everybody notice something. Rahu is, come on guys,
Yeah.
Rahu is,
It's
what's,
also TV communication. Yeah,
yes, of course, but it,
TV especially.
yes, but look at the sign the Rahu is in, guys.
Where is it?
It's in,
Capricorn.
Parivartana.
no,
Vargottama.
Rahu is in Parivartana, of course, but look at the sign it is in.
It's
It is,
Capricorn.
Vargottama.
It's a Saturn. Yeah.
yes, it's in
Capricorn.
Makar, and in Rashi chart also it's in Makar.
Vargottama.
Ah, so it's
Vargottama.
Vargottama.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, guys, don't miss the power
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Vargottama.
yeah.
Tell me what you think of Oprah Winfrey. She sees no one. She sees like everybody, the whole world she sees. She's interviewed like, you know, there are no boundaries. There's nothing off limits for her. Whether it's the prince or the, you know, the absolute like the abuser, or, you know, the saint, that spiritual leaders, Dalai Lama, you know, she's kind of everybody. She sees no, she doesn't discriminate. That's the power of Rahu. It will transcend all boundaries. A Vargottama Rahu has absolutely no limitations. Yeah?
Yeah.
Is everybody clear on this?
Yeah. I ask a question. So, Sonal, the same rules for the D1 works for the D9 as well. So you take in account the lords. So, for example, is the 8th house lord of the D9 or the planet in the D9 that are 8th house of the D9 that are very important?
Yes, in the D9. Yes.
In the D9, the 8th house of the D9. So
yes, absolutely.
First is the planet that you look for the karma, for the suspended karma is the
Yes.
planet.
Is
Yeah.
the planet. And if there
And
is no
if there is
planet,
no planet, the Lord.
of course, yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So is everybody okay with this?
Ma'am, does
Yeah.
it apply to, like you were discussing about 10th house in the Navāṃśa Lagna? If there is no planet, the lordship should be taken, or any planet should be physically present.
Ideally you want some planet there, you know. But otherwise you take the Lord and see what the state the Lord is in.
Even the Rashi Drishti or Graha Drishti will favor it?
No, not really.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, not really. But
Okay.
yeah, but ideally you want some planet or the other, yeah, and strengthen that planet.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, what we are going to do now is I'm going to stop share because we are we are